What's your favorite thing to cook for your family?
When it's all of us and it's your birthday, you get to pick out your dinner. We have meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and green beans.
Oh, and that's the boys' favorite and Richard's favorite?
That's everybody's favorites. Now, Richard's favorite is fried chicken, but I don't do that.
So you can pick your favorite, but I may not cook it for you.
I may not cook it for you, but you can pick it.
Welcome to Holly Hill in historic Midway, Kentucky. I'm Weta Michael, and this is Up Home. The food of Central Kentucky reflects who we are as a community. It's the intersection of people, places, and ingredients. And when we find our place in that community, we become part of the greater story, honoring our past and celebrating our future. Central Kentucky food culture is all about agriculture. Traditional crops like the sorghum produced by Randall Rock in Woodford County are a direct link to our foodways heritage. Generations of family farmers are the backbone of Kentucky cuisine. About 25 miles from Randall's place, the Jones family is working on their 6th generation. The produce from Happy Jack's has been the foundation of my seasonal approach to cooking for more than 2 decades.
I love it.
So you did not grow up on a farm?
No, I did not. I grew up in town in Frankfort. I went to the swimming pool every day in the summertime and,
When did you and Richard, when did you decide to move to the farm?
Yeah, I moved in here right after we went away on the honeymoon, so I moved down here in 82.
So, and his mom lived down here?
His mom lived down here, and we had a little apartment upstairs, which now Richard and I live down here, and Adam and his wife live upstairs.
So
it's just the circle keeps going.
The circle of life. Well, so in 1996 is actually that is the year that Richard started
diversifying. That's when we started diversifying. And then as the tobacco market was starting to change, we decided that we needed to do something else. And then that's when we started doing the produce.
I love that. What's your favorite variety of these beans?
I like the round ones. We call these round beans. Then we have the Roma type or flat beans.
The flat beans, yeah.
We just go from round or flat.
Round
we
or
plant
flat.
7.5 inches apart this year.
Yeah.
In the middle of the plastic.
Mm-hmm.
Right in the dead in the middle, pretty much. And when they flop over, you can see all the beans are still laying on the plastic.
Yeah.
They stay clean. Before we'd have two rows, 2 holes. And they would be a foot apart. It'd be like 2 rows of beans, and the beans would flop down on the soil and they'd rot.
Well, who thought of that?
Me, myself, and I.
Now Richard and Leanne Jones have found that diversity in products and sales is the key to supporting multiple families and sustaining their passion for the land. Their sons David and Adam now have families of their own, and they're continuing the tradition at Happy Jack's. I mean, how old were you? What's your earliest memory on the farm?
I always loved farming.
You did?
I always did, yeah. I always wanted to farm. Probably my earliest memory was out front of the tobacco barns where Dad always had big giant coolers full of cold drinks. So I could always get like a orange soda or grape soda or water. But I started working, they put me to work pretty young.
Can you refresh my memory how many acres you're cultivating in vegetables, including sweet corn, including tomatoes, everything?
Yeah, there's about 7 acres of produce, which includes everything from the tomatoes to the squash that we saw earlier, and the cucumbers, melons, beans, all that. And then we do roughly about 12 acres of sweet corn. And then we have usually anywhere from 15 to 18 acres of pumpkins we wholesale the pumpkins, and you pick pumpkin patch.
Well, you have this is a big agritourism experience out here on this farm, because you have your pumpkin house, you've got the animals of the farm, you do a corn maze, I think.
Yeah, we do a corn. We started doing that past few years, so there's like 1.5 acre corn maze every year.
You do?
Agritourism works for the Jones family because they have created a destination that nourishes the body as well as the imagination. I mean, as long as I've known you, you've grown these gourds. Kale. When you produce as much food as the Jones family does, farmers markets are a way of life. Each week, the family splits up and heads to markets in Frankfort and Louisville. Leanne has been instrumental in building the Franklin County Farmers Market into one of the state's premier venues. But what about the folks who can't get to the farmers markets? Issues of sustainability and food security are some of the biggest challenges to our communities, and I'm proud to introduce you to one of the most progressive food organizations we have, Food Chain in Lexington. If all Food Chain did was grow hydroponic greens in an old factory using recycled water from an aquaculture operation, that would be pretty amazing. But they do so much more.
Food Chain aims to forge links between the community and fresh food, and we do that with education and demonstration of sustainable food systems.
We thought we could do that here because we're in the middle of a food desert.
We are. So there is no grocery store within a mile from where we're located, and also more than 20% of the population that surrounds the building is living below the poverty line. But even more so, the allure of this location, aside from the fact that there was a need, there was this building that predated so much of the residential population, right? So it was the neighborhood had grown up around this big bread factory in the heart of it. It's a little intersection of people going about their daily lives, and yet food isn't present in the way that it can be, and the empowerment that food can provide, not only from a nourishment standpoint, but from a community development and neighborhood empowerment standpoint.
I believe in Food Chain so much that I started a restaurant in the same building. At Smithtown Seafood, we can walk out the back door of our kitchen and harvest fresh greens. We get our tilapia right there as well. So, Kristen, you're the director of Food Chain's education and outreach.
Yes.
And that means what?
I do a lot of cooking classes, although I don't really like to call them cooking classes. I like to instead focus on food literacy. More than just cooking, I'm teaching them how to appreciate food, how to interact with food, how to recognize in themselves how important food is.
One of the things that really struck me today in looking at the work of the kitchen was you had done a recipe. It's for the food kit.
Yes.
And it was the Fiesta stuffed acorn squash.
Yes.
And you'd also had a QR code on the recipe. And so you can scan that with your iPhone and then you pop up.
Yes.
And you prepare the dish
Yes.
in a traditional video cooking demonstration.
Yeah, that was one of the things that we really tried to focus on last year, especially since we couldn't have people in person. We didn't want to lose out on the education piece.
When COVID hit, Food Chain did what it does best, bring people together around food.
I don't think we ever envisioned quite the level of direct feeding that we have now been doing for the past 18 months.
18 months. The sheer physicality of producing 350,000 meals in 18 months. And then the first 100,000 of them were basically off your brow.
Yeah.
Food security isn't just about food, it's about the dignity of the people who need that food. It's about breaking stereotypes and providing opportunity.
It's not about painting this picture of starving, malnourished people. And so it's like, it's okay, like they're starving, you just throw trash at them and they'll take it, they need it. That's how bad they need it. The really important thing is that our food system has enough space in it that people shouldn't have to choose between rent and healthy food. Like, that shouldn't have to be a choice because we have enough healthy food that's being generated and we have enough wealth in this country that's being generated off of the back of the people that are doing that work that we could provide it for free for anyone and everyone, and our financial system wouldn't break.
I just want to thank you because you have really enlarged the Kentucky table. You've made sure that it's big enough for everybody to gather around.
Well,
Thank you.
I hope it gets that way.
Our local farms and farmers are working hard to feed us. But what Happy Jacks and Food Chain show is that agriculture is a very special intersection of people, places, and ingredients. With each crop they bring to market, with each class they bring to kids, they teach us that whole local food is good, that food access is fundamental, and that we truly are what we eat.